Welcome back. All right, tonight was ridiculous. I'm just going to say straight out that right off the bat in a lot of these games, there were goals in the first minute or first 2 minutes, and then there was power plays, and then there was this and that. I got as much as I can on these boards. I apologize for things that may have been missed in these games, but dear Lord, 8 games on at the exact same time, and then another one, then another one. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what's going on over here. What the heck is it's like you're babysitting a whole troop of kids, and you're like, all right, so I put a wait. When did you stick that crayon on your nose? What did you do? Stop climbing the curtains. Would you stop it? As a parent, as somebody who's a camp counselor, that's what that reminds me of. All right, let's go ahead and start things off with Florida and Carolina. So this is a battle that apparently favors the Canes. And for Florida, this has to be frustrating. They played a good game, but in the end, Nedeljkovic, what can I say? This goaltender, this rookie has shown he belongs in the National Hockey League. And if you're Don Waddell, you have to feel pretty good that in a league where you need 3 goalies right now, he has 3 legit goalies. So there you go. First period, Panthers get an early power play. There were a lot of power plays in this game. So that's killed off. The Canes get one, and then they get a second as well. And during that second power play, Sebastian Aho scores from Trocheck and Svechnikov at 14:31. That is point number 300 in the career of Sebastian Aho. Second period, early power play for the Panthers, killed off. And then it's Vinny Trocheck, who enjoys scoring against his former team. He scores from Nechas at 6:35. That one went off Drieger's back and in. The funny thing was, it looked like maybe it had hit Niederreiter's stick. And Tripp was looking at that, and he said, well, if it hit the stick, and then he just kind of trails off because he realizes that would have been above the bar. And you're kind of like, it should be okay. No, that would have been above the bar, and you know it. So Nedeljkovic then denied Verhaeghe. The Canes get a power play. The Panthers get their chance as well. We go to the third period. First minute, the Panthers get their 4th power play, and then we get 39 seconds of 4-on-4. The Canes would get a power play after that, and then we get an extended 4-on-4, because why not? There weren't any majors, just a whole bunch of minor penalties in this one. Shots were 6-4 Panthers at the half, just unable to get themselves a goal. Panthers press with 8 minutes left. That's where they found out again that Nedeljkovic is a pretty good goaltender. Aho and Marchment then had matching minor penalties. They were off the ice. Goaltender gets pulled by the Panthers, and the empty net goal is scored by Nechas from Niederreiter at 19:08. The Canes win 3-0. They go to 27-9-3. Florida drops to 26-11-4. Your 3 stars in this one: Nedeljkovic, Trocheck, and Nechas. Shots 9-6 Carolina in the first, 8-7 Florida in the second, 10-6 Florida in the third. Final shots 24-22 for the Florida Panthers. Power plays 0-4 for Florida, 1-4 for Carolina. The hits in this game, that favored Florida 39-24. Blocked shots 9-8 Carolina. Both teams had 12 penalty minutes. I tracked penalty minutes tonight. Drieger, 19 saves on 21 shots, and Nedeljkovic, 24 saves for his 3rd career shutout. Not too shabby. All right, next up, Tampa. So Tampa coming off of a loss against Columbus, and they came out early, and they swung, and they hit this one out of the park. Although Columbus did make it interesting late. So Coleman would score from Gordon Goudreau at 58 seconds. This is what I was talking about, how things just get ridiculous early in the night. Bolts get a power play. They score on it. It's Stamkos with the power play marker from Hedman and Palat at 4:41. And then exactly 1 minute later, Barclay Goudreau makes it 3-0 from Gordon Coleman. And that would be the end of the night for Korpisalo. Kotkaniemi. We'll get to Kotkaniemi in Montreal. They don't. It's not like Tortorella got on the phone and said, yeah, so Jesperi's out. Why? We've allowed 3 goals, get Jesperi out of the lineup. So then there's a power play for Columbus. It is unsuccessful, and late in the period, Del Zotto, who's been rumored to be on the trade block, he gets a goal from Roslovic and Merzlikins at 17:21. However, with 1 second left, McDonough scores from Gord and Coleman. So Coleman with a big night tonight, and it's 4-1 Tampa after 1. Second period, it becomes 5-1 at 4:54. Colton continues his hot streak from Johnson and Maroon. The shots were 5-3 for Tampa with 7.5 minutes left. And then Roslovic scores. Again, they did tighten this game up a bit. From Grigorenko and Atkinson at 17:08. However, McDonough, as he did in the first period, he gets a late goal in this one as well. from Gord and Goudreau at 18:56. So there's a late Bolts power play that carries over into the third. The Bolts get another power play. Columbus had one as well. They don't score on it, but just after the halfway mark, Werenski gets a goal from Texier and Roslovic at 10:41. And then in the last minute, just to keep things interesting, Max Domi scores from Bjorkstrand and Kukin at 19:14, and that made your final score 6-4. Tampa Bay goes to 27-11-2. Columbus drops to 59-8. So if you're following along with what's going on in the Central, Tampa now has the exact same amount of points as Florida. They have one more win than Florida. They have the same amount of wins as Carolina, but they have one less point than Carolina. So that division, very, very close. 3 stars in this one: Gord, Coleman, and Roslovic. So Roslovic continues to play well after being a healthy scratch. Shots: 18-12 Columbus in the first, 11-9 in favor of Tampa in the second, 9-7 Columbus in the third. Final shots: 36-30 for Columbus. Tampa Bay goes 1 for 4 on the power play. Columbus goes 0 for 2. Hits: 23-15 for Columbus. Blocked shots: 12-6 for Columbus. Penalty minutes: 19-13 for Tampa on that one. Vasilevsky saves 32 out of 36. So it's one of those rare nights where he saves below 90% of his shots, and he gets the win. Korpisalo, 3 saves on 6 shots, and Merzlikins saved 21 out of 24. So it continues to get worse for Columbus. I kept hearing during the Chicago broadcast how it's a 4-way race for that 4th spot. I don't see it that way right now. I know you have to sell the fans on that, but I don't see it as a 4-way race. It's not the right word. All right. Winnipeg. The Winnipeg Jets in against Montreal. And Winnipeg continues to have a pretty good run against the Montreal Canadiens, even though tonight I would argue Montreal might have deserved a better fate, but that Hellebuck guy's a pretty good goaltender. So Morrissey would score at 18 seconds. This is what I'm talking about. 18 seconds, 58 seconds, and we'll see on the second board too. There were a lot of early goals. Morrissey from Perreault and Appleton at 18 seconds. And then at 1 minute and 40 seconds, Danault scores from Tatar and Kotkaniemi at 1 minute and 40 seconds. Then at 8:03, Lewis scores from Pionk and Forbert. So it's 2-1 Winnipeg. And again, I'm trying to manage all 8 games and trying to keep up because it can be kind of a pain, and it's easy to miss a goal. For people who watch the videos I did on the Classic Series, it's easy to end up missing a goal when you're looking over score sheets. So you got to kind of try to keep up with all that. Ehlers would score at 13:07 to make it 3-1, and that was all the scoring in the first period. And you get the feeling like, all right, so Winnipeg should be able to bring this home. However, they were outshot badly in that first period. It's another one of those cases where every time Winnipeg had a chance, it seemed to go in. It's a Winnipeg trait. Second period, first shift chance for Josh Anderson. Habs would then get an early power play, and during that power play, Toffoli hit a crossbar, but that power play is killed off. Another Habs power play, it becomes a 4-on-4. Romanov had a shot that missed high, and then Byron on a great goal from Petrie and Kotkaniemi at 15-14. The Habs would then press going for the tie, because it's 3-2 at that stage, right? Late Jets power play, and then in the third period, the Habs would finish off the penalty kill. 4:12 left, the Jets get a power play. Allen stopped a shot from Connor. So the Jets don't score on that power play, but they had opportunities. Shorthanded play by Byron killed 30 seconds of that power play, and then the goaltender gets pulled with 1.5 minutes left. Well, Winnipeg scores into the empty net. It's Kopp from Connor and Scheifele at 19:22. So the Jets win this one 4-2. They go to 24-13-3. For Montreal, they dropped to 17-11-9. Now, for people keeping track, they've now played the same amount of games as Vancouver. They're 8 points ahead of Vancouver. Is it over? Kind of. However, I could see why the Canucks would look at that and go, you know what? Montreal's lost their last 2 back-to-back. We've got 4 games left against Ottawa. We can do this. So I can understand why if you're a Canucks sitting at home right now, you're looking at the standings, looking at this game tonight and going, you know what? We need to play. So 3 stars, Hellebuck, Kotkaniemi, and Morrissey. The shots, 18-9 in the first in favor of Montreal, 11-6 Montreal in the second, 12-9 Winnipeg in the third. Final shots, 38-27 for Montreal. Power plays, Winnipeg 0 for 3, Montreal 0 for 2. The hits in this one were 28-21 for Montreal. So they lead on shots. They also lead in hits. Very good game by Montreal, just they come up on the short end. Blocks, 15-12 Montreal. Penalty minutes, 8-6 for Montreal. Hellebuck saves 36 out of 38. Allen saves 23 out of 26. And yeah, the Jets, they come out with a win, and they're going to play Montreal again on Saturday. So again, Winnipeg's shown they can beat Montreal. Montreal's kind of struggling. Can understand why a team chasing them might look and go, I don't think this is over yet. Although for Calgary, they still have 3 games in hand on Calgary. So yeah, for Calgary, it's probably done. Next up, you know, I really hoped I'd be wearing a Senators jersey for this review tonight. I really did. I really wanted that to happen. Because the Sens played well in this game. And in the end, the Ottawa Senators lose all 9 games against Edmonton. Edmonton, clean sweep against the Ottawa Senators. And, you know, this keeps them in the running for first place in the division, right? If they had struggled against Ottawa, we wouldn't be having that discussion. So the Senators get an early power play. The shots were 3-3 at 7.5 minutes. And again, if you're going to beat the Oilers, you got to kind of get them into this kind of slow plodding, keep the puck to the outside, clog up the middle, and I thought Ottawa did pretty well. Another Sens power play, really strong period for them. They doubled the shots of the Oilers in the first period. Second period, first minute chance for the Sens. In fact, 26 minutes into this game, the shots were 14-7 in favor of Ottawa. So they maintained we're getting 2 shots for every one that the Oilers are getting. The Senators were driving the play through that first half. Puljujarvi then had a shot that was kicked out. Power play for the Oilers, and they score on it. And it's Kailer Yamamoto from Chason at 11 minutes. The Senators, again, to their credit, they pressed with 4.5 minutes left, and they would get a goal eventually. It's Connor Brown from Tierney at 18:03. So now Connor Brown's on a 6-game goal-scoring streak. Not too shabby. And, yeah, it's 1-1 after 2. So, again, if you're the Senators going to the third period, you got to feel pretty good about things, but the Oilers just don't let them off the hook. The Oilers pressed 2 minutes in. Stützle was denied. The Sens pressed back at around the halfway mark. And then Shore scores from Jones and Kara at 12:58. The Senators would pull the goaltender with around 3 minutes left. And that gets a goal eventually for Puljujarvi at 19:50. So Edmonton wins this one 3-1. They go to 25-14-2. For the Sens, they drop to 13-24-4. The 3 stars in this one, Mike Smith, who was great. Connor Brown and Jujhar Khaira is the 3rd star. And the interesting thing is, McDavid and Draisaitl weren't really a factor in this. So they did their best. They shut them down, and it doesn't matter. Shots 10-5 in favor of Ottawa in the first, 16-8 Ottawa in the second. So they outshot them 26-13. They doubled their shots through those first 2 periods. And then in the third, the shots were closer, 14-10, but still in favor of Ottawa. Final shots, 40-23 for Ottawa. Power plays, Edmonton scored on the only power play they had. Ottawa only had 2 of them. They didn't score. Hits, 33-30 for Ottawa. So they out-hit. They did everything they could, just can't beat Edmonton. Block shots, 12-9 for Ottawa. Penalty minutes, there was only 6 of them, and 4 of them were taken by the Oilers. Smith saves 39 out of 40, and Forsberg, who still has Jets pads, 20 saves on 22 shots for him. And yeah, if you're a Sens fan, that's the way the season's gone. But it's a good learning experience for the kids, I guess. All right, let's go to board number 2. Okay, New Jersey and Buffalo. So again, this is the ridiculousness. We get a goal in the first period or first minute here. We get a goal in the first minute here. A goal 2 minutes in here. Yeah, it was that kind of night. So Olofsson scores in the first minute of the New Jersey Buffalo game from Yoki Haru and Okposo at 53 seconds, and that had to feel pretty good. And then the Devils get a power play, and they score at 2:06. So it didn't feel pretty good for very long. Zacha scores that power play marker from Smith and Bratt. They get back on the power play shortly thereafter, and they score again at 3:46. It's Zacha from Smith and Bratt, the exact same scoring on both goals. And so for Pavel Zacha, his first game as the only Z on the team, or Z, depending on which side of the border you're on, and he did pretty well. Sabres, they would get a power play. Hughes would end up scoring before the end of the period, so not shorthanded, just after that power play was over. Kuokkanen and Sharangovich had the assists at 16:04. And those 3 guys were in for a pretty good night. Maybe this is Jack Hughes' coming out party. Maybe getting rid of Palmieri and Zajac has given these guys a chance. So second period, shots were 6-2 for the Devils at 6 minutes. They were in control, but the Sabres would get a power play and they would score on it at 11:56. It's Tage Thompson from Montour and Miller. And then Skinner scores his 4th of the season. That's 9 millions, 4 goals. He's been playing better. Reinhardt and Darlene with the assist. That's at 18:21. So it's 3-3 after 2. Third period. Tentative third period. Shots were 3-1 for the Devils at 8 minutes. So it was kind of a quiet first while. And then Boquist scores his first of the year from McLeod at 8:45. The Devils would then get a power play. They don't score on it, but the momentum was in their favor. And it just kind of rolls downhill for Buffalo at that stage. Sharon Govich scores from Hughes and Kuokkanen at 18:17. That was with the goaltender in, so they pulled the goalie so the empty netter can go in, and that's Kuokkanen from Sharon Govich and Hughes at 19:28. So Hughes with a goal and 2 assists, Kuokkanen with a goal and 2 assists, Sharon Govich with a goal and 2 assists, and Zaka with a couple of goals tonight. That's a way to pad your stats against the Buffalo Sabres. Well played, and a 6-3 final is what we see here. New Jersey evens up the season series to finish it off with Buffalo. Both teams won 4 times. They go to 14-18-6. Buffalo drops to 9-24-6, and they're playing tomorrow too, right? So, yeah, it doesn't get easier. 3 stars, Zaka, Hughes, and Darlene. Shots, 14-13 New Jersey in the first, 13-12 New Jersey in the second, 11-2 for New Jersey in the third. So Buffalo, they had their issues in the third. Final shots, 38-27 New Jersey. Power plays, New Jersey goes 2 for 4. Buffalo 1 for 3. Hits, 13-9 Buffalo. Block shots, 11-6 Buffalo. Penalty minutes, 8-6 for Buffalo. Dell saves 24 out of 27 at one end of the rink, and Ullmark saves 34 out of 37 at the other end. So, yeah, I mean, entertaining in the end and a lot of goals in a game that really doesn't really mean much. But for New Jersey, it has to be encouraging to see all these kids come through like this. I know it's against Buffalo, but still, see all the kids come through like this after seeing Palmieri and Zajac leave yesterday. So, yeah, let's go ahead and move on. Philadelphia. There's a never say die attitude that took over with Philadelphia tonight, and yet, in the end, they have to wish they had the 2 points, right? Moral victories aside and all that, this is the time of year you need those 2 points. We're roughly a month away from the playoffs. So Nelson scores from Pulick and Beauvillier at 6:10, and then Eberle scored from Komarov at 7:13. So it's 2-0 Islanders, and then they get a great opportunity. So Morin is given a 5-minute call for boarding Casey Zizekas. They review it. Yes. It's a 5-minute call. Morin is done. It is a 5-minute Isles power play. The best opportunities during that 5-minute power play went to Philadelphia. So there was a shorthanded 2-on-1 in the last minute, and then Raffle had a shorthanded chance as well, and it's killed off. And then Obi Kubel scores at 13:53. So they had a chance to at least go up 3-0 on the 5-minute major. They had a chance to maybe go up 4-0. You could run up a score on a 5-minute major, but they didn't. And so they come out of that first period 2-1 leaders. But in the second period, Philadelphia ties it. It's Voracek from Giroux and Konechny at 3:22. The Flyers, buoyed by that, they would get some pressure around the 9-minute mark. There was a power play for the Islanders, unsuccessful. The Flyers had a power play as well, that was unsuccessful. So you go to the third, there was an early power play for the Flyers. That wasn't successful. Shots were 7-4 in favor of the road team with 6.5 minutes left. The Flyers had a 3-on-2 late there, and Mayfield defended that, so we go to overtime. In the overtime, the Flyers controlled it early. Hayes had a shot that deflected to the corner, and then with 1 minute and 58 seconds left, the Islanders get a power play on a hooking call. So they call a timeout. Whatever plan they devised was unsuccessful. They end up going to a shootout. In the shootout, both goalies shone in that shootout. And then Brock Nelson ends up getting the winner on, I think it was round 5. So the Islanders get an all-important 2 points tonight. They go to 26-10-4. For Philly, they get the 1 point. They go to 18-15-6. They now have sole possession of 5th place, but they fall a point further behind 4th. So we'll see how things shake out again at the deadline. 3 stars, Nelson, Eberle, and Voracek. Shots in this one, 9-7 Islanders in the first, 8-6 Flyers in the second, 10-6 Flyers in the third. Both teams had 2 shots in the overtime. Final shots, 27-23 for the Flyers. Flyers 0 for 2, Islanders 0 for 3. Hits, 29-14 in favor of the Islanders. Block shots, 19-10 in favor of the Islanders. Penalty minutes, 19-4 in favor of Philadelphia. So the 5-minute boarding call definitely helps there. Carter Hart, 21 saves on 23 shots. Sorokin, 25 saves on 27 shots. Both young goaltenders I thought played well tonight. But again, for Hart, it's gradually pulling that save percentage up. It's still not good, but he's gradually pulling that save percentage up a little bit. Okay, next up, Pittsburgh. So the Penguins, these guys right here, not wearing these, but the next time they do like some kind of a reverse retro or something, can we get something along the lines of this design? Because I always like this one. Anyway, so the Rangers at home, looking to lay another thrashing on the Penguins. It didn't really turn out that way. Shots were 6-1 for the Penguins 3.5 minutes in. Yeah, they came out with some anger. Zohorna would then score from Pettersson and Letang at 6:26. Look, I don't know where the Penguins find guys like this. They're one of these teams they can just bring somebody in and they start scoring, and some teams are able to do that. Penguins being one of it's weird. They just, here's a new guy. Who is he? I don't know. We found him outside. He was like the 10th caller to the radio station or something. Oh, look, he got a goal. So yeah, Zohorna gets that. Then there's a power play for the Penguins. The shots were 13-3 with 5 minutes left. So again, the Rangers got to wake up. Late Rangers power play, and that wouldn't be successful. But then in the second period, they get a first-minute power play, and that was. Blackwell, who continues this really good run he's been on for the Rangers. He gets one from Buchnevich and Kakko at 2 minutes and 2 seconds. Being tied doesn't last. Chris Letang would score from Gensel and Dumoulin at 3:23. But then the Rangers get another power play. They don't score on that one. Things get scrummy with 8:42 left. The Penguins get a power play, and Rodriguez scores. He scores from Zohorna and Zucker at 11:28. Shortly after that, Blackwell hits a crossbar, so he almost answers again. But it's 3-1 Pittsburgh after 2. Third period, shots are 6-3 for the Penguins around 9 minutes in. And then Zucker scores from Rodriguez and Ceci at 10 minutes and 29 seconds. So I've been a Rodriguez fan for a while. Nice to see him on the board. And then Rooney scores from Fox at 13:48. So Adam Fox with a point tonight. Goaltender gets pulled with 2 minutes left, and that allows Jankowski to hit the empty net. He's been ice cold lately, so we'll see if he gets going. From Aston Reese at 18:29. The Penguins win 5-2. They go to 25-13-2, and for the Rangers, they drop to 18-16-5. Like I said, they now fall 1 point behind Philadelphia in that chase for 5th, which doesn't get you the playoffs. They got a chase for 4th, which they fell 2 points further behind tonight. 3 stars, Zohorna, Rodriguez, and Letang. So you shut down Crosby. You don't have to worry about Malkin. That's fine. You get beaten by Zohorna. Makes sense. Pittsburgh. Shots, 13-5 Pittsburgh in the first, 10-6 Rangers in the second, 13-9 Pittsburgh in the third. Final shots, 32-24 for the Pens. Both teams went 1 for 4 on the power play. Hits, 22-19 for Pittsburgh. Block shots, 14-9 for the Rangers. Penalty minutes, both teams had 15. Jari saves 22 out of 24. Shesterkin saves 27 out of 31. So, yeah, for the Rangers, kind of a rough night. And, again, these results, I think, are all going to factor into what GMs decide to do on Monday. But I'm not expecting a lot of action on Monday. I'm just expecting some, just a mild. The last time we said that, though, there was a lot of trades. Just not a lot of big names that went. Okay, next up. Last one on this board, and the last of all of these games being on at the same time, right, was Boston and the Caps. So I'm trying to keep track of everything you've heard up until now was all on at the same time. So Lauzon would score from Marchand and Smith at 33 seconds. 33 seconds. So every time I'd put something on the board and I'd check it, I'm like, wait, there's another, wait, where's that one? Yeah. So then there's a power play for the Bruins. That was unsuccessful. They get another one. Power plays would be an issue in this one. Shots were 15-6 for the Bruins with 6.5 minutes left. And then Bleed gets a goal at 16:02. And I think Bleed's played well for Boston. And I just like saying the name Bleed. So I'm glad he got a goal tonight because that means I get to say Bleed. Because what's doing this without having fun with some names? Caps then get a power play. Ritchie and Hathaway decided to have a fight in the last minute of the period. And then we go to the second period. Caps get an early power play. During that power play, it's a shorthanded marker for Marchand. So Marchand continues to have this amazing run shorthanded. 4 minutes and 9 seconds. Clifton would get the assist on that. And then there was a shorthanded chance for Wagner before it was killed off. So Wagner, if he doesn't miss wide there, things could have got really ugly. But it's 3-0 in favor of Boston at this point. And it looks like outside of something crazy happening, Boston should win this. That's when something crazy happens. So the Caps would get a power play. It was a 4-minuter, which already didn't make Bruce Cassidy happy. And then there's a 5-on-3 for 2 minutes. During the 5-on-3, Ovechkin scores from Carlson and Oshie at 10:08. He passes Brett Hull on the power play goal list. He's now second on the list all by himself. So normally when it's 5-on-3 and you score, it becomes a 5-on-4, right? Not in this case, because it was a double minor. And so therefore that just meant since it was scored during the first minor, now we get a minute and 56 seconds of still being 5-on-3. And I just wrote, oh boy, at that idea. And of course they score again. Oshie from Carlson and Backstrom at 10:27. So it took them 19 seconds to score twice because it was a 5-on-3. And kudos to the Capitals for being able to do that. Some teams wouldn't. There are teams out there that would just, mess the whole thing up and wouldn't get it. These guys knew how desperate it was that they get those goals. So that meant it was 5-on-4, which the Bruins did survive that 5-on-4. Good thing, too, because it felt like all the momentum was with the Caps. And then the Bruins get a power play. It was 4-on-4 for 2 minutes. Where's the separation between that second? Let me just double check something. I didn't put down the separation between the second and third period, so I had to look that up. So, Ovi had one that Swayman had to look behind him on, and then we go into the third period. In the third period with 4:40 left, the Bruins had a power play. They would score on it. Smith scores on that power play goal from Coyle and Zboril at 16:55. The Capitals would pull the goaltender with 2.5 minutes left. Wasn't happening. Like I said, it was all 8 games all at the same time. It was crazy. So I'm surprised that's the only one that I made that mistake on, to be honest. I was trying my best. I was like, all right, make sure you keep track of it. So that one ends up being a 4-2 win for Boston. They go to 21-10-6 for the Caps. They don't get a point. They drop to 25-11-4. So they drop behind the Islanders by 2 points with that loss tonight. 3 stars, Marchand, Smith, and Ovechkin. It's really important for the Bruins that Craig Smith starts upping his game because, of course, Bruins fans aren't happy that the Islanders added Palmieri and they added Zacha. Bruins want to see that kind of move with Boston, so these depth guys for Boston need to start getting on the board. Coyle getting an assist helps too. Shots 17-9 for Boston in the first, 14-7 Washington in the second, 10-8 Washington in the third. Final shots 33-32 for the Caps. Boston 1 for 4 on the power play. The Capitals 2 for 7. So yeah, it's a lot of power plays for Washington. Hits 26-19 for Washington. Block shots 18-9 for Boston. And penalty minutes 21-15 for Boston. Swayman made 31 saves on 33 shots. I think this kid's a pretty good goaltender. And Samsonov, 28 saves on 32 shots. I think Bruins fans, after the last couple of weeks of seeing Vladar and now seeing Swayman, I think we feel a lot better if the Bruins at the end of this year say, you know what, Halak and Rask, it's been great, but we're going to go with the 2 kids. I think Bruins fans will be okay with that. You save the cap space, and then you spend it somewhere else. So we'll see what they do, right? Okay, now, time to change boards. All right, Nashville and Detroit. And the last 2 games weren't really, there was no tension with these at all. So this is the other thing was there were a couple of blowouts tonight where it's like, all right, so that's done. Pretty easy to update the power rankings board with these ones. So, it's one of those ones too where Detroit, they looked good early. They look good and then it kind of falls apart. There was some 4-on-4 play early. The Wings get a power play that's killed off. Predators had the lead in shots 5-4 at the half, but they were even at 10 after 1 period. So, again, Detroit playing well. And in the second period, they score first at 1:48. Helm from Stetcher and Ernie. So Ernie stays hot. That's his, 15th point. And then the floodgates. Arvidsson, who I've been waiting for. I've been waiting for Arvidsson to start scoring. He gets a goal from Cousins at 2:28. Howla then got a goal from Grimaldi at 6:36. And then the weirdness happens. Okay, so Ernie gets a boarding call. And I believe the initial call was 5 minutes. So then they review it and they go, it's 2 minutes. Plus, Olivier came in and started punching his face, which I think everybody in Nashville wanted to punch his face for the boarding call there. And I think it was Grimaldi he took down. And so Olivier gets the instigator because Ernie didn't get his gloves off. and he gets the 10-minute misconduct as well. So Coach Hines not happy. He lets the referee know how not happy he is, and the referee decides he's not happy with Hines not being happy, so he slaps a 2-minute bench minor on the Nashville Predators, which led to more not happy from John Hines. He didn't stop yelling at the referee when that minor was handed out. I think he got louder. So let's review. Ernie boards a player in a dangerous manner, and they decide it's a 2-minute minor instead of the 5-minute major, which, all right, okay. And then the Preds end up being shorthanded out of that situation. It is one of the more ridiculous things I've seen, and I understand everything that happened. I understand how everything, but it doesn't feel like that should happen. It doesn't feel like I should be like, man, I'm really glad I boarded that guy because then we got a power play out of it. It doesn't sound right. It just doesn't sound right. But the Predators did kill that off, which is good because if they hadn't, the comment section under this video would be nuclear, right? And then Cousins would score from Sissons and Howlett at 16-10. Or no, yes. So that made it 3-1. And in the last minute, the Predators get another power play. So, or their only power play of the game, I should say, because they didn't get that power play. The Ernie boarding call, I keep thinking, well, that's a power play for Nashville. No, it wasn't. So, man, and all I could think was Nashville fans are so mad right now. Third period, Granlund scores from Ekholm at 7:06. That makes it 4-1. Arvidsson then scored from Lewington exactly at the halfway mark. And all I could think was, this is all because of the Ernie call, isn't it? You guys are just going to keep beating him up. Penalty shot for Arvidsson, and he scores. And that's the hat trick at 11:06. That is the third career hat trick for Victor Arvidsson. About time he started getting some goals. I believe in the guy. So, and then Yakov Trenin scores from Sissons and Harper. Harper had a really good game at 15:55. And you could tell because Mickey Redmond kept wanting to swear about how good he was. And he just sort of has to catch himself and just say, oh, geez, instead. Because you know he wants to say something that's a little more colorful than that. And he's been caught once this year doing it. So he's doing his best not to swear. But you can tell he kind of wants to. And the boarding call part, too, he was apoplectic on that. That was just, I mean, and again, much the same as me, understanding everything that happened, but that just doesn't seem right. So your 3 stars out of this one. There's no Detroit Red Wings there. Arvidsson, Harper, and Cousins. Shots were 10 apiece, both in the first and the second period. In the third, the shots were 12-6 Nashville. Final shots 32-26 for the Preds. They were 0-1 on the power play. Detroit 0-2. Hits 13-10 Nashville. Blocks 14-5 Nashville. Penalty minutes 23-11 for Nashville. I'm really sorry. Honestly, the laugh is because I can't believe that entire thing happened like it did. That was just insane. Saros, 25 saves on 26 shots. Bernier, 25 saves on 32 shots. It was a rough ride for Jonathan Bernier tonight. Really tough game to come in and try to play for him tonight. So there you go. All right, next up, last up, Dallas. So Dallas again, I know they're not going to make it. But at this point, I consider them kind of be trying to ruin the year for Chicago, which, all right, cool. If you're playing spoiler, all right. Now remember, Nashville here is the team that they're chasing. Nashville now at 45 points. With the loss tonight, Chicago's at 41, and Dallas is now at, 38? So they're technically still in it. They've still got games in hand, but come on. So shots were 7-4 for the Hawks at 7 minutes. Power play for the Stars, and they score on it. Rope hints from Ben and Pavelski at 9:19. And I will say this, that the Chicago crew did mention how Rope Hintz hasn't been playing at 100% all year. He doesn't play back-to-backs. He'll only play one or the other game of the back-to-back games, and he's nursing injuries, and yet he's been fantastic when he's been in the lineup. No argument with that. Kubalik would answer from Hinostroza at 14:05. So, Hinostroza, 2 games in a Chicago jersey, and he's got 2 points. Not too bad. Last minute, the Hawks get a power play. So going into the second period, it felt like, Chicago's playing pretty well. They'd outshot Dallas and outchanced them, and here we go. But in the second period, Dallas shows they're resilient. Robertson scores from Hintz and Lundell at 1:13. The Hawks would get another power play. It's unsuccessful. The Stars get their second power play, and it is successful. Heiskanen gets one from Ben and Hintz at 14:02. There's Rope Hintz on the board again. And then Como would answer from Cogliano or Como would add to it from Cogliano. I'm so used to teams answering against Dallas that there it is. At 15:47, so 2 goals within 2 minutes to make it 4-1. Yeah, Dallas with 4 goals. Who knew? Hawks go back to the power play. That was unsuccessful. So we go to the third. At 50 seconds of the third period, Blake Como puts it out of reach. Rope Hintz with another assist. Hintz, 1 goal and 3 assists in this game. So, yeah, not too shabby for Rope Hintz. I do have to double check something. I don't know why I have the theme song to Muppet Show stuck in my head, but it's there, and once it's in there, it never gets out. You just hum it over and over again. All right, so Lankinen stopped a Fox a chance after that. Stars continued to press while they were up by 4. You could see that Dallas knows, all right, so we know Chicago has this fast strike attack. We're not letting them get anything going. Closest it got was DeBrincat with a chance that deflected wide. I think Sekera blocked that one out. But yeah, Dallas ends up winning this one 5-1. I had to double check. This is what I had to double check was the 3 stars because they weren't posted at the time I started this video. And sometimes I don't feel like waiting because sometimes it can be a while, Colorado. So the stars go to 14, 14, and 10. The Hawks drop to 18, 18, and 5. Your 3 stars are Rope Hintz. Como is the 2nd star, and Hudobin's the 3rd star. He had a very good night. Shots were 16-12 Chicago in the first. It was 14-8 in favor of Dallas in the second. And then 14-8 Chicago in the third. Final shots, 38-34 for Chicago. Dallas 2 for 3 on the power play. Chicago 0 for 3. The hits, 46-30 in favor of Dallas. Very heavy, hard-hitting game. Block shots, 22-10 in favor of Dallas. This is how Dallas should play. This is the Dallas Stars that I've been waiting for. The problem is, again, it's game 38 of a 56-game season. Penalty minutes, each team had 6. So not only did they throw 46 hits, it was pretty clean. Hudobin saves 37 out of 38. Lankinen saves 29 out of 34. And with that win, it makes it very difficult for Chicago. Like I said, they're too far, for me anyways, they're too far back. They've also got, let's see, they've played 36, 41 games. 41 games. They played the same number of games. So, again, I know it's possible that they can catch up, and I know Chicago has games against, I think they're going on a 4-game road trip against Columbus and Detroit. So it's possible if they win all 4, sure, but it's going to be tough road for them from here. All right, there you go. All set. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always, and this is a little shorter than the review might normally be, but again, there was 8 games on at the exact same time. So it's only so much that I can track. And there you go. So let me know your thoughts regarding tonight's games. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. And hey, thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.